Hello everyone, my name is Gareth and I am the chef from Bangkok Bob's, and today we're going to be doing a rack of lamb with pom puree or mashed potato and with roasted red peppers and garlic and a parsley butter. First and foremost, I'm going to introduce you to our rack of lamb. This is a Welsh lamb. She has 7 bones, and to accompany this we have our peppers that we're going to be preparing and roasting. We've got our mashed potato. We've got our chopped parsley, chopped white onion, garlic, rosemary and some thyme. We have our butter for the parsley butter. We have all our seasonings here. We have our salt, pepper. We have our herb oil. We have our balsamic dressing. We have our lemon juice and our olive oil. We have our equipment here as well. So we have our mixing bowls, we have our frying pans, we also have our resting rack for our lamb when it's finished cooking, and we have our stove where we're going to start cooking the lamb and sealing it off. So we have our 7-bone rack of lamb here now. Now as you can see, there's still a little bit of meat on the bone here now. So just with a little knife, you can just trim any excess off here. And very, very simple, just use the back of the knife just to get as much off as you can, and this way these bones will not burn. So now we have our rack of lamb. Now there's a process called scoring. So scoring is almost like going back to the music things when you write a score for music, and what we're going to do is with our knife, which is very sharp, make a small incision down the skin, not breaking through to the meat at all. But what happens when we do this is that when we put this into the pan to seal it, it will not tighten up, it will not bend, and it will let the fat come out as well. So as you can see there now, we have some perfect little diamonds, just like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to season it. So we have our salt. Now we're using a rock salt here. So the salt gets right into there, rub it in. And this will help crispen the skin up as well. We've got our pepper. Same. Rub it in. So there we go. Give it a good pat. And what we're going to do now is we're going to place this into our seasoning tray. We've got a bit of olive oil here now. And we're going to make sure that this lamb comes to room temperature. So skin side down, we've already seasoned it, so skin side down, and now we're going to season the bottom. Once again, same procedure. Nice bit of salt, nice bit of pepper, super. And what we're going to do now is going to keep that in just a room temperature environment, and we're going to get it to the right temperature before we place it in the pan to seal it off and get it in the oven. So for our roasted peppers, first and foremost, a nice sharp knife. With our pepper, firmly in your hand, whether you're right-handed or left-handed makes no difference, but whatever hand you hold your knife in, the opposite, place the palm on top of the pepper, and then with your knife, make an incision, and then use your palm to roll the pepper. So as you roll the pepper, what you're doing is removing all the skin and not keeping any of the seeds. So always have a bowl for your rubbish. The other bowl is for your finished product. Always do the same job at the same time. So with the yellow pepper, the incision, use your palm to roll this around, remove the seeds, retain the end, get rid of the rubbish. Now this is a rustic dish, so we just cut nice big chunks like this. With your knife, push it nicely through all those beautiful colours. Okay, so now we have our frying pan on the stove. We've got a very high heat. We're using an induction stove here, but whether you're using gas or electric, just take it up to the highest heat. Put a little drop of oil in there, and this will indicate when it starts to smoke how hot your pan is, and that's what you're looking for. You don't want it to burst into flames, but you certainly want to know it's hot. And you don't want it too cold either, because otherwise the lamb's just gonna sit in its own fat. We want to sear this lamb as soon as it hits the pan. If you want to know if your pan is hot, just drop a little bit of an onion in or something extra. And now we can already hear the onions cooking. So we're gonna put our lamb in. As we can see, seasoned, scored, it's at room temperature now, and we can hear that straight away. That's gonna take 3 or 4 minutes to get some beautiful caramelization. After that, we'll then turn it over, caramelize the other side, but not so much though. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna protect our bones. If you want to, and a lot of people do this, is wrap some tin foil around the bone. But we're gonna seal this. Our oven is set at 190, and a rack of ram that's 7 bones is approximately going to take about 38 to 42 minutes to cook with a 5-minute resting time. So don't be scared, because what's happening right now is the bones are protecting the meat. That's why it takes a lot longer to cook. If you want to cut this into cutlets, you know fine well that's only going to take 2-3 minutes. But what we're doing is we're cooking the whole rack, so this is going to be beautifully pink all the way through. Okay, so now we're ready to turn. Nice and crispy. So the nice thing about this is when this lamb is nice and sealed, we're going to place in a tray into the oven, and then what we can do is use the fat from the lamb to cook our peppers, so we get all the flavors that we've extracted. So another 30 seconds. You can see caramelizing nicely here. Because we removed all the excess from the bones, they're not going to burn. Okay, so we're going to place this onto our tray. And we're going to put it in the oven. And don't forget to set your timers. So right now we have our lamb fat. We're going to put our onions in. A little bit of garlic. Now we don't want to burn these onions. We just want to soften them up. Now we're going to add our peppers. All those beautiful colors in there. Give them a good shake. Now we have a bit of rosemary here, okay? And with the rosemary, and just simple like that. Now you can cook these on top of the stove, so we're around about 3/4 heat level here now. So if you have a gas stove, gas mark 6 is the highest, then gas mark 4 is where you want to be. If you have an electric stove, and the full one is the 3 power, take it to 2 power. We have an induction, the highest is 9, we've taken it down to 7. We're going to let them tick over for a couple of minutes now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get our mashed potato ready. But we have a pan, a non-stick pan, with a little bit of olive oil in. If there's any excess, you just pour it off. With the pan back on the heat, with a nice spatula, a nice big scoop. The trick with this right now is you keep on working it. Don't let it sit still. So almost like when you're making an omelette, you move it round, move it round, move it round. Don't let anything stick to the bottom of the pan. Use the shape of the pan for your finished product. So our lamb's been in there approximately around about 35-37 minutes now. So what we're going to do is take the lamb out of the oven and place it on our resting tray. Here's our beautiful mashed potato. So we just finished our mashed potato off now. a little bit of salt, a little bit of herb oil. Now we add our peppers to the dish. Here's our rack of lamb, and we're just going to slice straight down the side of the bone. Just use the back of your knife, go down to the side of the bone. So beautifully medium. And spread it out, a little bit of salt all the way around. We just present. Here is our rack of lamb that we have scored on the skin side, and we have brought to room temperature. Once it's got to that temperature, we've put in a very hot pan, sealed it skin side down, and we've caramelized that top. And then what we've done is placed it on a tray into the oven. We have our mashed potato, and we have our roasted red peppers that we've roasted off with some onions, some garlic, some balsamic, some herb oil, olive oil. We finished with our pomme puree, our mashed potato, with a bit of herb oil on top of there. And just to finish the dish off, a nice sprig of rosemary. Enjoy your meal.